Hi guys, Kirsty Kianifard here from KirstyKianifard.com and welcome to Mindset Mastery Monday, the place where we conquer a mindset that will accelerate the impact of your business and help you create a life you are obsessed to live. So it's so good to be here. I've had a really cool weekend, a great Monday so far, just done the interview for this week's podcast, which you guys are going to absolutely adore. Fabulous lady called Lou Ord on there today, who is a luxe wild florist. How cool is that? Anyway, she's got loads of nuggets of wisdom to share this week. So if you're not familiar with the podcast, do head over. It's called the Wellness Entrepreneur Podcast. There I really share all of my how-tos, my step-by-steps on business, really. All my strategy stuff, all the things that are really going to help you increase the impact and therefore the income within your business. And then of course our Facebook Lives are all about the mindset piece. So every aspect of your business and your life will need some sort of mindset upgrade every now and then. And there can be sticky spots that we just can't push through or feel like we can't push through because maybe they've been programmed in us for a really long time, or maybe we are totally unaware they even exist. So today I'm here to talk to you about how to find and amplify your alignment. So I've just come back this weekend from the Happy Place festival, which is Fern Cotton's festival, and I was just bathed in goodness. Like, it was so brilliant. There were amazing speakers. Russell Brand was there. Lots of other really, really influential and impactful speakers. Loads of integration, so lots of sort of tuning in and lots of meditation, lots of yoga, lots of good food, lots of good company. So it was just a fabulous event. And I spoke about this on social media yesterday. I truly believe that the key to success in life and business is to understand the two I's, the integration and the implementation, and to know where you most commonly operate. And for me, hold my hands up, it's in the implementation. Yes, I have great integration practices, but the sort of work I do, my integration needs to be always at the forefront of my mind, really embodying things, really tuning in, really looking at what needs to be dug up next in order for me to really get to the next level. So it was really nice for me to just rock up and be led for the entire day. Now, on my way back from this festival, I really got thinking, like, what were the common themes? So something that fascinates me is that if you study, and I've studied many phenomenally successful people in history, if you look at, the people that you are inspired to follow and listen to, the friends and family of yours that really have you feeling good and support your growth, very often I'm always looking for the common themes, because I believe that very often there are numerous common themes that spring up that really form the roadmap to success, fulfillment, happiness, growth, connection, all these things that so many of us strive for. So many of us, it's like the end game, right? So I really got to thinking, what were the themes of the weekend? And I've put together 7 really powerful steps that are going to help you find this alignment and going to help you amplify it, come back to it, because the overriding theme for sure of the whole weekend was, it doesn't matter what sort of success you're after, it doesn't matter what your end goal is, but the recipe is sort of the same. That your alignment, your connection, that internal landscape is really everything. So, our first step to really amplifying and finding your alignment is resilience. Now, this is something I've talked about so much. I love the topic of resilience. And the theme that kept coming up was this idea that it's not about avoiding struggle. It's not about avoiding difficulty. It's not about preempting what may go wrong and either simply avoiding or sort of recursing in order to hope that doesn't happen. Neither was it about troubleshooting. Neither was it about sort of reactive behavior. But building resilience is about seeing the difficulties, seeing the struggle, seeing the experience you didn't preempt, as an opportunity to learn. So one of the speakers said that now when anything goes wrong in her life or something comes up she wasn't expecting, she says, bring it on. Because she knows that in the overcoming, she will become more resilient. And in the resilience, she will have more opportunity for success and growth. Because the more resilient we become, the less likely we are to be thrown off course. The less likely we are to be overridden with fear of a situation, because we've sort of been there, we've done that, and we have that mindset that whatever comes our way is simply a tool for growth, a navigational point of reflection that will enable us to become stronger as a result, will enable us to build more resilience. So it's changing the perspective, and it's really understanding that you always have a choice. So a lot of the things I work with people on is freedom, because it's one of my massive core values, and therefore attracts people that really want to live freedom-based lifestyles. And one of the things, once we've peeled back the layers as to what does this mean, very often it presents itself as freedom from, financial restriction, or freedom from the limitations of a job or a container that they don't no longer like, or it could be freedom from the beliefs. But when we keep peeling it back, what we really understand is that it's freedom to choose. That's what we so crave. It's freedom to choose, and all those other sort of external gains come as a result of feeling that we have freedom to choose. And resilience gives us freedom to choose. Because when we feel resilient, when we feel that nothing can knock us down, when we feel like that tree solidly rooted in the earth, knowing that whatever the weather, whatever stuff's thrown at us, that the resilience is at such a level that we know that we can ride it and that it will still enable us to have freedom of choice, because we've been there, we've seen it, we know we will overcome it, is that real sense of inner freedom, the idea that we have freedom to choose. So that first step is building your resilience and choosing to see struggle, choosing to see difficulty, choosing to see turbulence, choosing to see unexpected things as an opportunity to build your resilience. Now, the second step was devotional practice. Now, I term it devotional practice because for me it's devotion to whatever that is that you choose. So it could be the universe, it could be God, it could be self, it could be energy. Whatever it is, there is an aspect of a devotion, a commitment, a handing over. Now, this is what always astounds me. It doesn't seem to matter where you are, who you're talking to, what their background is, what culture they've been brought up in, but that seed of some form of devotional practice is always there. I have yet to see anyone live from a place of fulfillment and because this is a constant thing, but be striving for growth and being committed to themselves that doesn't have some sort of devotional practice. So this came up in every single speaker that was there at the weekend, every single person, and I promise you there was such a diverse cross-section. Not everyone was spiritually minded, not everyone was into meditation, not everyone was into yoga, not even everyone was into a healthy lifestyle, but everyone recognised the need for some sort of devotional practice. So things that were talked about were meditation, were that inner dialogue, so being able to call yourself out when that sort of negative voice takes over, having a practice that enabled you to do that, journaling or just writing, so just getting all of those thoughts out of your head onto paper and then burning it, something ritualistic like that, conversation, ensuring that the people around you supported you fully, but having some sort of tuning in practice. So if you're watching this today and you dip in and out, or this was me once, I only used to go to any sort of devotional self-care practice or sort of the things that I liked when shit hit the fan. like when things weren't going right. But what was really evident this weekend was it's not about that. It's not about a sort of troubleshooting, get the sort of fire extinguisher out moment when everything's going to pot and quickly use all my resources to realign and get my connection. It's about a regular devotional practice and a devotion to self, something that is non-negotiable. And it really seemed to form the seed of every single person's varying levels of success, fulfillment, and happiness. It was at the bottom of that. So I'm guessing if you're listening to this, it's not the first time you've ever come across the idea of some sort of practice for self. But what I would encourage you to do here is to start looking at what serves you. So I'm really getting like a little bit like about this whole self-care bandwagon thing. Because, a long time, 10 years or so ago, we were desperate for it to be at the forefront of conversation, desperate for people to be acknowledging the importance of self-care. But as everything comes into the mainstream, it can become a bit of a bandwagon. Everyone's jumping on, everyone's making it Instagrammable, everyone's making it something that it has to be. And I would really encourage you, in order to keep your alignment strong on a daily basis and over time increase your energy bandwidth, which is really the purpose of your alignment, is to find what works for you. And actually today's podcast, or the one I recorded today for Thursday, we really talked about that totally unexpectedly, but this idea of finding what works for you and then allowing that to evolve, but ultimately keeping it a consistent practice. And it blew me away really, because I have to keep being reminded of this. Sometimes I feel like maybe it's just because I'm in the sort of wellness world, the spiritual world, but really, time and time again, doesn't matter who you speak to, but people that have really gone through difficult times in their life and have achieved massive success, fulfillment, happiness, joy in their life, will always have some form of devotional practice. Now, step 3 was internal validation. So another theme was this idea that when we are looking externally for permission, for you're doing a really good job, for I really like that video, for that's a great picture, for yeah, you should go and do that because you'll do really well at that. We also hand over all of our power to the people that say, don't know if you can do that, or maybe that's a bit scary. How do you know it's going to work out? Or you looked awful in that picture, or I really didn't like what you said in that video. So it was this idea that while we're constantly looking for the external validation, we're handing over all our power and all our freedom to choose to the people who have their own stuff going on. It was really so many stories of these ideas that we have to allow ourselves to be pushed and pulled in all different directions depending on how other people feel about us. And it was really this deciding moment in a lot of these people's lives where the only validation they needed was internal. They had to give themselves permission. They had to be the person that through the resilience, through the devotional practice, would decide what felt good and what didn't feel good, who they wanted in their lives and who they didn't, what they wanted to try and achieve and what they didn't, what statements they would be making in the world, how to be fully authentically them through what felt right with them, through the internal validation. So this was massive. Affirmations were thrown around a lot, so the sort of positive mental attitude. And I know there's been a lot of sort of controversial stuff around that, but this was really as simple as, affirming to yourself that, you are worthy of it all. You can have it all. You are enough. All of those things that people were seeking so much on the outside landscape had to start being internally validated. Now, the fourth step was creating your own opportunities. And actually, I went with a great friend of mine who is also in the business world, and we had this conversation between the two of us. Both of us felt that at one point in our lives, we probably felt that we didn't really fit in. We didn't really find the group, the clique of people or society's expectations where we could just slot in. So when we look back at our careers, both been in this, for a long time, we realise that most of the things we've achieved have been as a result of creating our own opportunities, not waiting for someone to knock at our door and tell us or give us the keys or the rights or the permission or the roadmap to achieve those things. And really, again, this became a theme, the idea that you have to go and create your own opportunities. If you want to express yourself in a certain way and you're a certain type of person that doesn't feel that you fit into any models that you can see out there, you have to use your own initiative to go and create those opportunities for yourself. Now, not only is this a platform for you to grow and for you to create massive impact with the mission that you have inside of you, but it also suddenly allows other people to do the same. It creates a network of like-minded people. If you're feeling that way, you will not be the only one. There will be other people that are looking for exactly what it is you're looking for, but someone has to make the move. And why not you? So rather than hoping that someone's going to ask you to speak on stage, rather than hoping that someone's going to create a business that you would love to work in, rather than hoping that you're going to get that knock on the door that tells you that you've won this amazing trip around the world, why don't you start taking those small steps to making those opportunities yours? Everything that I've achieved in my life, I've created myself. It's been hard. Sometimes I've had knockbacks. Sometimes things haven't gone the way that I wanted them to. But when you look back at the wide scape, you realise that really that was the only option. And the best thing about that is you get to do it exactly how you want to do it. I was talking to someone else recently in the entrepreneurial space, and I was saying, you know what, I just don't think it's possible to be an entrepreneur without being slightly rebellious. I think it's in our nature to not want to conform, to not want to do things like everyone else does it. So naturally, why not go and create your own opportunities rather than looking for someone else to do something for you? Now, step 5 is implementation and integration. This has really been at the forefront of my mind because for me, I realise now that as I've up-leveled in my business, I need to be up-leveling in my integration. I need to be making sure I'm doubling down on myself. I know that in order to get to the next levels that I want to get to, I have to be willing to dig into all of the stuff that I still have to work through. So really look at this implementation integration. It's really the same as the masculine and the feminine energies. It's the same as the light and dark, the yin and yang. We must try and strive to achieve this balance in our life in order to create sustained success, which continues to be in alignment with our mission, our purpose, and our higher self, and the real reason that we're here. So starting to look at, are you getting stuck in all the action-orientated things? Are you getting stuck in the strategy? Are you getting stuck in the how-tos? Or are you spending most of your time daydreaming, thinking it would be wonderful, journaling it out, talking about it, really getting stuck in your head? Maybe that's leading to overwhelm, overthinking, and then ultimately retreating because there's nothing landing. So when I was just doing energy work, we would look at these as the two polarities, your higher center and your lower center. And those really need to be working together in order to make things land in the real world. So you'll very often see highly spiritual, highly connected people who have incredible ideas, but they don't land, or they don't take form very easily, or they're always in that sort of daydreamy, high spirit, like things just aren't working. And then often you have people on the other side that are so into, working, hustling so hard to get all these things done, they've lost that higher connection. So it's the integration and the implementation that have to be at play all the time, even to the point where you structure it into your business and your life. How much are you doing? How much are you being? And make sure they're in balance. So you know what, in the comments, if you want to really reflect on this, just write being or doing. Which camp do you most predominantly sit in? It's my firm belief that we all have one. When I do energy body analyses, I can see it like that. Either your masculine energies will be stronger or your feminine. So often in women, it's actually the masculine energies that take over. We have to do things. You know what it's like? Sitting on the couch, you've told yourself you're going to have a cup of tea and relax, but all you can see is all the things that you have to do. And it starts making you feel antsy and like you've got to get up and go and do them. So what is it? Are you in that being camp or the doing camp more? And see if you can start to get into alignment and choose the other and start to really amplify that. Now my next step, step 6, and I mean this from my heart, is take more responsibility for your own happiness. This was huge. It sort of fits in with the creating your own opportunities, but really taking more responsibility for your own happiness. Starting to witness those times when you're saying, he said this, she said this, well, I would have done it for now if it wasn't for him, or it wasn't for her, or if it wasn't for that annoying thing that happened. You know, be proactive. If there are sides of your life that aren't working, if there are things that don't feel good, if there are relationships that aren't serving you, be proactive. Start doing something about that. Start connecting to that and start taking more responsibility for your own happiness. And this really starts with this internal validation piece as well. You know, we are swamped by media, like particularly on social media. I think it's something like we pick up on average our phones over 50 times a day. So you wouldn't put yourself in front of a crowd of people that made you feel like shit 50 times a day. So why are you doing it on social media? Why are you allowing so many people that you don't even know to influence your mood? You know it if your energy stagnates. You know it if you were riding high and then you pick your phone up, you start scrolling, and 2 minutes later you're sucked into the self-doubt, the worry, the anxiety, the comparison. We have to start taking more responsibility for our own happiness. So really being so connected to ourselves that we know what lights us up, and we use that navigation tool as a navigation of one joyful experience to another as much as possible, and not feeling that we have to struggle and suffer in that struggle of life just has to be hard. So start taking responsibility for your own happiness. What things could you be doing right now that would fuel you up? What actions could you be taking right now that can get you closer to the life that you desire? Who is it in your life that you want to, who is it you want to call in? What support network do you want to have? What type of friends do you want to have? Just because it's your current experience, it doesn't mean it's going to be your reality forever. So start taking responsibility for your own happiness. And my 7th and final step is be who the fuck you want to be. Seriously, this was the overarching theme. Be whoever it is that you want to be. Every single person that was on a platform at this event, every single person that was there, was willing to be seen for who they are. Were so different from one another. The reason they were inspiring and relatable was because their stories were their own. They overcame their own struggles. They had a goal. They had a vision. Maybe one that hadn't been achieved before, or to others seemed totally unrealistic. But they had that and they went for it. They were exactly who they wanted to be, through the resilience, through the devotional practice, through the internal validation, through the implementation and integration, and through deciding to be the master of their life, from deciding to take their happiness into their own hands and no longer outsource it to anyone else, defying all the odds. And these people they seem unique now, they seem special now because they have a platform. But what's fascinating when you hear these stories is that they weren't born like that. It didn't happen like that overnight. It was through the consistency, showing up and being so determined to fulfill their destiny, to really step into their power, to become the person that they wanted to be, they liked to be, and to keep navigating from that point. So every time something felt off, to reconnect and find, what is it I need to change? How do I need to adapt? And that resilience allowing them to do so. So they are my 7 steps to help you find your alignment and amplify your alignment, so you can really find your happy place more consistently and live a life that feels fulfilled and is constantly evolving and expanding in alignment with your higher mission and your higher purpose. So let me know how you found that. Let me know if any of those really struck you as things that aren't present in your life at the moment, or things that are massively a work in progress, isn't it all? And which ones do you feel that you really need to sort of pull out of that list and work on? Now, as always, guys, if you want a little bit of help with this, I have my Define Your Dharma 2-part process available for free over on my website, which is www.KirstyKianifard.com/Dharma, Dharma, and that is a 2-part process that gives you a worksheet to really start looking through what is it that makes your heart sing, what is it that lights you up, what is your calling, and then takes you through to a meditation once you've got all of that stuff out of your head and onto paper, that helps you guide you through a process that will start to really elevate those aspects of yourself that will help you find your alignment and ultimately help you create bigger impact in your business and in your life. So head over to KirstyKianifard.com/Dharma, Dharma, to get your hands on that. And as always, I love to hear from you, so you can find me over on Instagram at Kirsty Kianifard. I show up here every single Monday, share lots of content with you guys throughout that time, and of course every Thursday a new podcast episode will drop, available on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, anywhere that you can find a podcast, you can find it there. Alright guys, well, I've been Kirsty Kianifard. Thank you so much for being here. All my love. See you very soon. Goodbye.